That doesn't work, does it? Okay, today we're talking about slowing things down, slowing your playing down, your practice session down. Why? Well, maybe not for the reason you might think. We're going to talk about that today. Grab your guitar. Let's get started. Hi, David Rollman here. Welcome to this channel, which is all about helping guitar players around the world find their unique voice, develop that voice to tell their own personal musical story on the instrument. And today we are talking about playing slow. You probably heard that many times. I've heard that when I learned how to play, and still today, when I'm stuck in a situation and I can't play a lick or something like that, people tell me to slow down. And I started to think about that because I would play really slow for a long time, and well, it didn't really seem to help. The problem is that my approach was wrong. The reason behind playing slow was not really understood. So we're going to talk about that. Typically, when people tell you to slow down, you might think that it's because you need to really get that technique well. So let's say that you have a lick like this. Okay, simple blues lick, and you slow things down and... Well, the problem with that is that the technique you're using when you're playing slow is not exactly the same technique that you're using when you're playing fast. It's not. And if you learn things slowly, just with the aim to play faster later on, well, that might not work. I think if your aim is to play fast, you should practice things at a fast speed because, again, the technique's a little different. Now, yes, slowing things down will help you with other things. Those are the things that we're going to take a look at today. So the main thing that that you might work on when slowing things down is memorization, memorizing where your fingers need to go, memorizing the fretboard and things like that. And that's all great. But again, it doesn't really help with your technique. And well, you can really memorize things without having to go super slow. The main thing I think that is useful when playing really slow has nothing to do with your fingers. It has everything to do with your mental. When you improvise, and we talk a lot about improvising here on this channel, you kind of want to be in control. And a lot of players forget this. A lot of players, when they improvise, they think they really improvise, but they don't. They just rely on finger memory. And so if they're playing over something like this, they're going to rely on licks. Okay, and that was very directed by licks that I've learned before. And that's not truly improvising. That's just playing things that you've heard before, that you practiced before over a track, knowing that it will work and the outcome will be not really unique, right? Because you're relying on those licks and there's only a limited amount of licks that you can do. True improvisation, I think, is a combination of the things that you've heard before, but also there's a creative process in there, something new all the time. If you go watch a great improviser perform, well, his solos are never going to be the same, and they're not always directed by licks that he's learned before. They're very influenced by this. Very much like I'm talking to you now. This is not scripted. I don't know what the next sentence is going to be, but I have a general idea. So if you slow things down, and what I mean by slowing things down, I really mean slowing things down, you are basically aligning the finger skill with your ability to be engaged with what you're doing and plan your next move. And that is fundamental, I think, when you're slowing things down. So we're going to do that real time. We've got this backing track here that you can get for free. The link is below. I'll also include some charts for you to follow. This is in G Dorian in this case, but this works with anything. And I created a simple loop. So this is the full speed. We're actually going to slow things down quite a bit. So I'm using a software here called Transcribe. Highly recommend it. Pardon me while I turn my back to you for a second here. I'm going to go in Transcribed and slow things down to 50% of the original speed. And I think that will be the right speed for us. There we go. So how do you know if it's the right speed? There you are. How do you know? Well, you know by playing the slowed down thing, you still have your main beat here, and you ask yourself, what is the fastest flow of notes that I want to deliver? For me, it'll be 30-second notes, 8 notes per beat. So it, taka, 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 taka. Can you sing it? Taka, 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 taka. If the answer is yes, that's the right speed for you. So we're gonna do a little live exercise here. There will be mistakes, but that's great because you can fix those at that speed. And the idea here is to kind of like target certain notes. So first, you need to be comfortable with the scale. In this case, we're in G Dorian. I'm going to assume that you're comfortable with that scale. If you're not, the charts are included in the backing track. And select an area of the fretboard that you are comfortable with. You don't have to do the full fretboard if you're not comfortable with it yet. And just start playing the scale to get a feel for what that scale sounds like. That's my scale. You need to be able to anticipate the notes that you're playing. That's the first step. Very simple melodic lines using the 7 notes of that scale that you're operating in. Okay, now we're going to start to target certain notes of that scale. Let's say that we want to target that minor 7th. I'm going to start to play at a very, very comfortable speed with the aim of anticipating that note. So I'm going to create a phrase. For example, there it is. That note, and you're starting to develop some very, very simple things that are gonna help you engage with what you're playing. There is a very strong connection between this, what you're hearing inside, and the delivery. That's basically learning how to speak. Once you're comfortable with that, try another note and try another area of the fretboard. And this is where it becomes really interesting. Once you're familiar with these notes, these scales, what you can start doing is exploring outside notes. Now, those outside notes are really going to sound outside at that speed if I play a note that is outside of the scale. It's really going to clash. But later on at fast speed, when you play these weird notes, it's going to sound outside. You're going to be like, oh, that's kind of interesting. That sounds maybe smarter than or jazzier or whatever. And it's going to sound pretty cool. It's going to add tension. We're working at a very slow speed here. Remember that. The thing with playing outside, and that's really a big thing, I think, with players who want to start injecting some new notes, some new flavors into their playing, is that when you're playing outside, you no longer have the strong connection that is established with your instrument. You're a little bit lost, right? And you always need to have, and I think in improvisation, a thread. I talk about this a lot on the channel. It's like an invisible thread that connects you with the piece that you are playing. It always needs to be there. That thread can be a melodic thread. It can be a rhythm thread. It can be both at the same time. Because you're playing outside, it's no longer a melodic thread. It's no longer the harmony that is going to attach you, link you to the track. So it's got to be something else, and it's going to be the rhythm. And so here, if we're operating at this kind of speed, that's our tempo. Taka, 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 just 16th notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be our thread. Taka, and start in. And then at some point you go outside. Now, you see what I did there? The thread was consistent. Now, which notes did I play? I don't know. I didn't really care about the notes. I cared about keeping that rhythm thread going. And if you do this, like 15 minutes every day, using that rhythm thread, when you speed things up, your playing is going to be much cleaner. You're going to find that this connects with this a lot better even when you're playing outside, and you're just going to be more in control, more secure, and more confident in your playing. So I'm going to play a little bit. This is the kind of thing that I will do typically if I have a 15-minute practice session. That's what I would do. Licks like this. I'm starting inside. I'm going to aim for this note, the minor 7. I'm going to start around here. I'm going to go outside. I headed back inside. Now this at fast speed would sound pretty cool, I think, but we're working really slow, engaging everything. Once you're comfortable with the connection, mind, fingers, you can start speeding things up. So maybe we do so that's 8 notes per beat. Okay, that was not very clean, right? You've got to be, you have to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Tell me below. Oh, I can't see. That's not live. Confident in the choices that you're doing, and you've got to be honest. That's the word. You've got to be honest with yourself. If it wasn't clean, you can slow things down even more. There's nothing wrong with this. We're at 50%. I'm going to go to 40%. That will really allow me to engage my mind with what I'm doing. That's our speed. So, not super clean either, but that's the idea, really. Engaging your mind with what you're playing, being in the moment. Doing that will help you truly improvise, not just rely on licks, but anticipating the sound of the notes and remember that thread. Super important. Honestly, you do this 10, 15 minutes every single day. In about a month, your playing is going to be changed for the better. You're going to be more in control of everything you do. That's what I have for you today. Visit the link below. You can download this slowed down track with the charts, and I'll also include a few other tracks for you to practice. This one is in G Dorian. I'll send you a few others. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope you put this to practice. It will really make a change. And if this is your first visit, thank you so much for checking this video out. I really appreciate your support. And you should subscribe if you like this, because every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday there's a new video coming out, helping guitar players around the world find their voice on the instrument, develop that voice, and tell their own personal musical story. Grab everything below. It's free. I'll see you very soon. Practice well.